to Eye on Horror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 48, otherwise known as season 3, episode 12. I think I have those numbers right. It's hard to tell. I am your host, James J. Edwards, and with me yet again, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davison. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing well. Just doing my thing.
Cool. And also with me yet again is your other host from Atlanta, Georgia still, John Correa. How you doing, Correa?
I'm actually just under 4 hours south of Atlanta, closer to Florida more than anything. Either way.
That's right. You said you were near Tallahassee, right?
Yeah, Tallahassee's like 45 minutes. We were actually there yesterday, and I don't want to go back. Florida scares me, right? See, like, Florida always has that, like, kind of, like...
All you have to do is type Florida man into Google, and the autocomplete is terrifying.
Yeah, it always has, like, that aspect of it, like, the Florida aspect, but, like, now it has, like, the Corona aspect to it, too, and it is not pretty. Although, from what I hear, kind of left L.A. at a good time, because it sounds like things are not fun in L.A. either, so... I guess I could be happy to be in this small town in Georgia for the time being.
I think it's not fun anywhere in America. Other parts of the world seem to have it under control. New Zealand is the place to be, I think, right now.
New Zealand, Taiwan, too.
Although, technically, we can't go to those places.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere.
You can't even go to Hawaii.
Yeah, your American passport is useless right now.
Yep.
No one wants us.
But we don't want them either, because we're the best nation in the world. We rule everything. America, 1776, bald eagles.
Maybe this is what Trump meant by building the wall, getting us so quarantined.
Getting us banned from
that
everywhere.
No one wants to come here. Okay, we're not going to get political.
So welcome to Eye on Politics.
Yeah, we did enough of that last week, and I think we've dipped our toe into it every week for the last 2 months.
It's hard not to. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care what people say. Horror is political, so if we talk about it a little bit, that's fine.
Oh, yes.
Well, and also, there's a reason why we're seeing so few new movies, because, there aren't any.
Yeah.
Well, technically, I've been seeing stuff at the drive-in.
Okay. What have you been seeing? What's the newest drive-in hit?
Palm Springs.
That's on Hulu now, right?
But it's also got a run on the drive-in circuit. Like, I just saw it a couple days ago.
Okay. Is it horror at all? I thought it was more of a romantic comedy.
Well, not really horror, but, it's in line with, like, Happy Death Day and Groundhog Day and all that. And it does have... and it's funny, there is kind of a slasher moment, like a slasher scene where somebody's getting stalked. So I don't want to spoil anything, but it does have its moments. Plus all the existential horror.
I've been wanting to dig into that because it's on Hulu.
Yeah,
but I haven't gotten around to it, so I'll get to it.
It's really good.
Have either of you guys seen Relic?
I did. I saw that at the drive-in as well.
Okay. Now what? I am so bummed that I didn't get offered a screener for Relic, and I'm so bummed because there aren't any drive-ins around here for me to see it. How is the Relic? Or Relic? It's just Relic,
no,
right?
Don't call it the Relic, because then it's the 90s museum creature feature. A lot of confusion there, but Relic was really good. It's one of those types of horror movies that confronts a very real and very tragic part of life through the lens of horror, because it's basically about this Australian family, and like the grandmother lives on her own in the old family house, but she disappears for a couple days, so her daughter and her granddaughter drive up to try and find her, and she's missing, but then she shows up out of nowhere and refuses to talk about where she was, and she seems to be going senile or becoming delirious, but there's more to it than that. So it's definitely in line with kind of the Ari Aster A24 sort of...
I've heard it's very Hereditary-esque.
Yeah,
which is all I need to hear.
In a manner of speaking, yes. Well,
okay.
It's like, just like... drama through the lens of horror, and It is pretty intense, it being grounded. Although it's only an hour and a half, so it's definitely a bit easier to ride through than Hereditary and Midsommar.
Ari Aster light.
A little bit, but content-wise, it's just as dark.
IFC, that Relic is an IFC title, and
Yes.
they're killing it this summer with, like The Wretched and the Kelly Gang, and then they have another one coming out in a couple weeks. It'll be a week after this posts, called The Rental, that I that I did get a screener for.
Really excited for that.
I loved it. I thought this is Dave Franco wrote and directed it.
Oh yeah,
And it is basically, I don't want to say too much about it because it's full of all these cool twists and turns, but it's these two couples rent this beach house kind of, and shit happens. It's just like, it's kind of a stalker thing, but it's also kind of home invasion. It's like,
and it stars Alison Brie, right?
yeah, Alison Brie, and also Dan Stevens is in it as well, and also I'm blanking on her name. The girl from The Girl Walks Home at Midnight, Sheila Vand. She's also in Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
She's also in it, so it's pretty good. I really enjoyed it. It was good. But also, speaking of beach houses, either you guys watch Beach House on Shudder?
Actually, I saw it at the Chattanooga Film Festival, so I'm so happy that it's available now because it was definitely one of my favorites.
I was a little nonplussed, but I love the setup. I love like the first half of it, but when it's just kind of, four people, this tense mystery thing happening, but then it got a little too, for lack of a better word, a little too Lovecraftian for me. I thought that it lost steam in the second half, but I loved the setup, and I was bummed that I didn't love the rest of the movie.
Yeah, well, I get what they were going for, and it wasn't exactly a big budget movie, but yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty fun.
They could have worked more within their budget and done something like The Invitation, but yeah, I know that I got the feeling that they purposely wanted to shift gears and turn it into this ecological thriller, but I liked it more when it was just the four people being paranoid.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of liked how it evolved into the eco-thriller, cosmic horror element.
But there's no way four people could get that high on one edible candy bar. That was where the movie lost me. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I am a lightweight, and I've had half a gummy and have lost 2 days on that shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, I am, like, so if Cheech and Chong are on one end of the spectrum, I am past the other end of the spectrum.
John's not here, man.
Oh, dude, it would be like 10 minutes later. Sorry, John's not here. And then I would be passed out.
I also caught up with, I'm a little late to the party on this one, but I caught up with The Grudge that from earlier this year.
Oh, yeah?
It was all right. I think that even though the reviews have been bad, I think I expected more from it because it was a little disappointing.
Are you excited for the TV show, though? That's coming to Netflix, right?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but I've heard it's more episodic. Is it like a prequel TV show?
I think so. I haven't checked it out, but yeah, I think it's kind of a prequel or something.
The other thing that I'm kind of late to the party on, I'm actually later to the party on, I finally saw The House That Jack Built.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
No.
That's on Hulu, right?
I actually had it on my DVR for like a year, and I finally was clearing the DVR and I watched it. It's Matt Dillon is like this serial killer, and it's directed by Lars von Trier, and that's all you need to know about it. It's Lars von Trier does Henry Portrait of a serial killer, basically, because it's kind of like Matt Dillon's serial killer talking about his kills, but you find out, as it goes on, you find out that he's talking about his kills as he works his way through the 7 planes of hell. So it's real esoteric, but it's also grounded in these really real kills. And of course, because it's Lars von Trier, Uma Thurman is in it. And some of the kills are really disturbing. It's not an easy watch, and it's a good 2 hours and 40 minutes. So,
Oof.
it's in Ari Aster territory lengthwise, but so are all of Lars von Trier's movies. I mean, Nymphomaniac, he divided into 2 movies, and they were still 3 hours each.
Nymphomaniac was just part 1 was just like, I remember when I managed a movie theater, we showed it on Easter Sunday, and that was just like one of the best Easters was just like having that, you know, with that metal song, I was like, yeah, happy Easter. Charlotte Gainsbourg getting it.
When I saw Nymphomaniac Part 1, there was a screening for it. It was a morning screening, a 10 a.m. press screening, and we went and we watched it, and then we all go home. And a month later, when Part 2 was going to come out, we actually had to chase the rep down to get screening links because they didn't want to do a screening of Part 2. They didn't want to do an in-person screening, so we're like, oh, but come on, we've all seen Part 1. You can't leave us like that. Yeah. So we had to chase down for Part 2.
You have to see Part 2. You have to know what happens next.
For completionist's sake, yeah. Part 2 actually is, I think, the better movie of the 2.
Yeah,
but
agreed. Although the ending, I don't know. I think I need to revisit that movie.
You can see it coming a mile away, though.
Yeah.
That ending, you know what's going to happen. But hey, it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, it's the friends you make along the way, Nymphomaniac.
What else you been seeing at the drive-in? Any other cool shit going on in live movies?
Yeah, doesn't Cinematic Void have an upcoming double feature of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Evil Dead coming up?
Actually, that was last week. Yeah, and I did it.
I hate everything.
And technically, it's hosted by American Cinematheque and Beyond Fest. Although Jim Branscombe from Cinematic Void is there often. But yeah, so like 2 weeks ago they did Jaws and Tremors for the 4th of July weekend. And last week was The Evil Dead and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was fun as hell. Because, it just felt like going back in time to like the 70s, late 80s, when they actually did these sorts of like kind of grindhousey double features.
That's awesome. Did they show special trailers to match up with it? Like
they did
movies of the time and whatnot.
Yeah, like they showed the trailers for like Evil Dead 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and other kind of affiliate movies like Demon Wind and Demons and The Hills Have Eyes, that sort of thing. So it's a show. It's so much fun. And and this week they're doing Big Trouble in Little China and Enter the Dragon.
That is an awesome. Why did they have to start doing this after I leave the state? Come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man, but I'm sure, with the way things are going, it's probably going to continue well after you come back.
Sounds it. Fortunately on one end, unfortunately on a whole mess of other ends.
I mean, hopefully people take it seriously this time so that we can actually get towards opening again, because the reason it didn't work is people didn't take it seriously.
Yep, and sadly, I just don't know what it'll take to convince some people. It's crazy.
But in other news...
Yeah. We promised we weren't going to talk about it anymore.
I'm just trying to subtly shift the focus to me because...
Okay, then talk about you.
So I'm out here in Georgia working, and production is long hours, so I don't have a lot of time to watch movies. But I do have a little bit of time at the end of the day, and I've been playing this video game called Super Hot. Have you guys heard of this?
No, don't know that one.
I've literally been playing it for 2 days, and it has been freaking me the fuck out. It's the best way to describe this game is, how I got into it was they're doing a sequel to it, but they're releasing it for free for people who already own the game. So for the price of like $25, you get 2 games for 1. And all I knew about it was it's like catch, which is basically time only moves when you move. So it's a first-person shooter, and when you're not moving, time slows down to almost a stop. And I was like, that's a really cool concept. That's a really cool gimmick. And the visuals, the style and stuff looks like a lot of fun. So I bought it. And what I wasn't expecting was to basically have a video game almost convince me that I'm in a Black Mirror episode. Like, it's all the scenery and stuff is white, and it's very computerized. You're shooting at these like red humanoid shaped things that are very polygraph, but like everything starts off from this menu where it's like load superhot.exe, and then like all these other things .exe. So it's like an old school computer. It's almost like you're hacking into this program, and the game does a really good job of having it that you're not playing a character, you're playing you, and you're hacking into this, or you broke into this thing that you're not supposed to. And as you progress in the game, you get it cuts to like you messaging someone in a chat room and being like, hey, so I got to this part of the game, it's like a lot of fun and blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden like what you just wrote changes to something completely different. Like if you say something bad about the game, it changes it on you, and then in the game someone's like reaching out to you, contacting like, you shouldn't be here, this is not a game, you need to stop now. And then all of a sudden it starts shifting into, you are a tool, your body is disposable, and like all this crazy shit like that. So playing that at like 4 o'clock in the morning like really started messing with my head the other night, and I was like, I need to stop playing this game. But then I play another level of it.
That kind of has to do with our topic, but before we get there, we do have something else we have to talk about. We are recording a day late. We're recording on Monday instead of Sunday, and it's a good thing too, because Scream Factory made some pretty awesome announcements this morning. You guys both get your Friday the 13th definitive collection box set pre-orders in?
Yeah.
Oh, you bet I did.
I got mine in right before the site crashed, because like it was acting a little laggy getting to checkout, but as soon as I got it in the cart and went through, always go through PayPal, dude. Like I suggest it to everyone. It like, because once you get to PayPal, you're golden with buying anything pretty much. But goddamn, yeah, that site crashed so hard so quick.
We were just talking about how Shout Factory's site is solid. We're like, all Vincent crashes, Severance crashes, Shout Factory never crashes. And here they are.
Lo and behold.
Well, it's also Shout Factory doesn't have ridiculously awesome sales like Vinegar Syndrome or Severed. They have some decent sales every now and then, and they do have some really awesome titles, but nothing where it's like you're gonna get thousands of people trying to buy it at once until you get all 12 Friday the 13th in one box set in a 16 disc with book and like all this other crazy, and the artwork
is a lithographic poster and a regular poster.
People thought that what they did for Halloween was a Herculean task, but what they're doing for Friday the 13th, this is probably more hoops to jump through,
but worth it.
And it's Scream Factory, so you know they're going to do it right. So yeah, it's exciting.
You know, it's also great seeing the markets being flooded with the old Friday the 13th tin set, and just seeing the values go from people trying to sell it for like $400 or $500 to like try to get $100 for it. It's as someone who paid way too much for that set, it is very satisfying to see a bit. But let's not just put the spotlight on the Friday the 13th, because they also revealed 2 awesome steelbooks for Pumpkinhead and Motel Hell. And they did this not long after I told myself I'm not going to double dip anymore just for a new steelbook. Just because the artwork's cool doesn't mean I need to own another copy of this same fucking movie again. And then they do it for one of my favorite movies that they put out, which was Motel Hell, which I already own 2 copies of. So it's like, well, fuck me. And I'm like, but at least it's a new transfer. I am glad that with these steelbooks that they are doing like older, like some of their early titles that they did with their collector's editions, and doing proper transfers with them, because some of those early transfers from Scream Factory are rough, which is kind of why I really want to get that Pumpkinhead one. Also, that artwork is fucking metal. But
oh yes,
but god damn it,
would you say that it's steel? Yeah, that was a dad joke. Sorry,
I was letting the crickets go for a second there.
You know, I mean, the steelbooks are cool, and the Friday the 13th is awesome, but am I the only one who's excited for Terror in the Isles?
No, actually, I'm pretty interested in that one as well. I've only seen clips. I've never actually seen the whole thing, but it does look like a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the whole thing, but there's a television edit that I guess took out some of the racier scenes and put in other scenes from completely different movies that I've never seen. So, and I guess hopefully they can get a hold of that one too. So there'll be two different versions of the movie. But yeah, right now I have Terror in the Aisles. It's a special feature on an old Halloween 2 Blu-ray I have. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they include Halloween 2 as a special feature on their Terror in the Aisles. No.
But I don't need another copy of Halloween 2. I have 4 or 5 copies of Halloween 2. It's ridiculous. I hate being a collector sometimes. And that's what I'm hopeful for, is because you can get the movie as that special feature on that Halloween disc for like less than $10. So I'm hoping that they include...
It's like $4.
Oh, $4
You can get that Halloween 2. Oh, you can get it so cheap, that Halloween 2 thing.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to know that Terror in the Aisles is on it, though. Yeah, I mean, it's in small print.
That's...
Terror in the Aisles.
That's why that copy is worth it, because they've put out way better copies of that since. But yeah, I mean, I'm with that one, I'm waiting for the special features to come out to see if I'm going to purchase it or not. It might be like a wait for it to go on sale type title, but yeah, I love Terror in the Aisles. That is people have like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer to watch on Christmas. Terror in the Aisles is my put on the TV while I'm making Halloween cookies or something.
It also gives me a little bit of hope that Shout Factory is going to get the rights to Alone in the Dark, because there's a lot of Alone in the Dark in Terror in the Aisles. There's probably like 5 or 6 scenes that, I mean, it's one of their go-to movies. Yeah. That and Ms. 45 are like the big, and Nighthawks.
I was about to say, and
a bunch of Nighthawks
for some reason. Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love Nighthawks, but why is it in that movie so much? Like,
and also, there's a lot of Vice Squad in it too.
There is.
So, they definitely keep going back to certain movies, but one of them is Alone in the Dark. So, hopefully, the rights issues for Alone in the Dark are softening up, or maybe they've figured out who they are. I know that I'm not alone in being the one who wants Alone in the Dark. I mean, that's like a holy grail. I have an old DVD of it that works, but.
I just want some outtakes of Donald Pleasance being like, the fuck am I doing with this? Like, is this what my career has become, is doing this?
Did you say Donald Faison?
Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance. It's Donald Pleasance?
Donald Pleasance?
Yeah.
It's not just...
I'm sorry.
I mean, in Alone in the Dark, actually, I realize you're talking about Terror in the Aisles now,
but... oh, yeah, Terror in the Aisles, yeah.
Donald Pleasance is also in Alone in the Dark, but so is Martin Landau and Jack Palance, or Palance. I don't know.
Oh, now you're fucking up last names like I do. I'm terrible with names.
But, so, I mean, I just don't know why Alone in the Dark is so hard to find with that cast, and
Martin Landau is awesome.
It's one of the greatest slashers of the early 80s. Let's move on to our topic, which we kind of didn't really touch upon, but the video games has something to do with it, because we're going to try to keep things a little light and fun, because we've gone through a few downers of episodes. Not that the guests were downers, but we were talking to all of them about current events, which are kind of a downer. But we're going to talk today about creepypastas, which I tell you, I am a huge fan of like folklore and urban legends and just campfire tales, things like that. I mean, I'm a scholar of it. I love it. And creepypastas are basically the 21st century urban legends, except instead of hearing about it from a friend of a friend, you find it in some Reddit subgroup.
Or some random meme from someone you went to high school with who goes, this is totally real.
But and that's where they come through with creepypastas. Everyone will swear to you that it's true. And, they're probably even less true than urban legends, because urban legends, some of them are actually based in fact. Creepypastas are all pretty much made up. But the thing is, no one knows who makes them up in most cases. And they get added to by the different people in the subgroups. So by the time you have your fully formed mythos of a creepypasta, it has changed, and everybody and their mother has their thumb in it. I think the perfect example of, and this might even be the original creepypasta, is the Slender Man.
Yeah.
Because that started out as just a bunch of people photoshopping this skinny, faceless, tentacle guy into these old-time photos of kids, making it look like there was this creepy Slender Man stalking these kids, and then people would come up with like a legend behind it and stuff. And this all happened. It wasn't Reddit. It was some other some other forum that I forget what it is, but it kind of took on a life of its own. And now there are Slender Man movies. There's one called Slender Man, but then there's that Marble Hornets. The movie that they did was called, I think it might be called Always Watching. But did you guys ever watch Marble Hornets? It was like a YouTube series.
I watched some of the videos like back in college.
I didn't finish it because I feel like they lost their way on what they were doing with it. I watched maybe the first 20 of them, and they're actually pretty good. And they have some genuinely jump out of your seat moments. But then I feel like they didn't know where they were going to go with it. So that's when I lost interest in it. But yeah, Slender Man, I think, is the OG.
And there's video games for Slender Man, too, which aren't that bad. A couple computer games, too, where you're, like, going through the woods and you have a flashlight. Very heavy Silent Hill influence. I have to say, I only know a couple. Obviously, Slender Man, but I actually had to spend this week looking into it. I had to go online and be like, hey, guys, what's your favorite creepypasta? And I got a lot of feedback. Everyone knows something.
And from more than just me and Jacob, because we chimed in with our favorites.
Yeah, but I'm not going to take your guys' favorites. One that genuinely creeped me out, I read it in like a list of something, was the Russian sleep experiment one, where they lock a group of like soldiers or something in a room and like completely deprive them, and then they're like, and then there's horrific sounds that are heard from the room, and then the sound stopped. So a few days later they open it and there's like some creepy photo and it's like, we are the dark. There's I've seen a few different lines. Like one is like, we are the darkness now, or close the door, we don't want to come out, or I don't know. I've seen different variations of it, but that one sounds like it could like potentially be a fun movie, like a good horror movie if done right. You know what I mean?
I think somebody's been trying to make it into a movie. Like I've heard some buzz, but I don't know.
But the problem with making any of these into movies is there are rights issues, because everyone's going to claim, especially like Russian Sleep Experiment, you said there's a bunch of different versions of it. Everybody changes it. So if your version is too close to what, Hot Dude 69 on Reddit wrote, he's going to come at you and be like, oh, no, I wrote this 2 years before. Give me some money. I think that's why. And I know that, was it Channel Zero?
Yeah. That
Shudder, or not Shudder, it was on Sci-Fi, but now it's on Shudder. Every season they would use a creepypasta as the basis, but they would veer pretty far away from the actual creepypasta because they had to avoid what the people unless they could find the people who actually wrote them, which I think
like
they
Candle,
may have.
Like Candle Cove, they actually worked with the original writer.
Candle Cove is actually one of my favorites because the original creepypasta is written like a chat room, and there's the different people that they're all remembering this TV show from their youth that is pretty creepy. It's pretty messed up, but it's written out like a chat room, so it looks like you're reading basically a buffering of this chat of all of these kids remembering this pretty fucked up children's TV show with like puppet pirates and
the Skin Taker.
Yeah, the Skin Taker is the enemy. Yeah,
it's basically like they remember some kind of HR Pufnstuf-esque puppet themed kid show about this pirate named Pirate Percy, who was with this live action little girl, and they were on like a magical ship, but they were being pursued by these evil pirates. And there was this one called the Skin Taker, which is like a pirate skeleton that says he wants to eat people's skin, and Candle Cove is like where they're trying to go. And there's just a lot of weird low budget disturbing elements to it, but there's a big twist.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, with these, as we're explaining what they're about, we need to stay away from any of like the punchlines, because we want people to look these up and read them themselves. And Candle Cove is one that definitely can be spoiled for you.
Well, isn't
yes,
Candle Cove like a part of like a subgenre of creepypastas, like called Lost Episodes or something? I think is what I
yes
in my research looking into, where it's like people remembering or misremembering episodes of like TV shows.
There's people who remember like Squidward's suicide, or they don't remember it. Someone who worked on SpongeBob said there was this episode, Squidward's suicide. And then there was another one, someone who worked on The Simpsons had a Bart Dies episode. So yeah,
that's one of my favorites, Dead Bart.
Dead Bart, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's interesting because it is its own kind of subgenre within creepypasta, like saying that there are these lost or unaired episodes of things of popular TV shows that are in some way or another cursed or have something weird about it. Especially with kids' cartoons, they really love to subvert stuff from people's childhoods to kind of mess with their nostalgia. Although, funnily enough, one was actually kind of based in a real thing, because there was this TV movie called Crybaby Lane, and it aired only once on Nickelodeon before it was banned.
You can find it on like YouTube now, though.
Oh yeah,
it is.
That's the thing. It's available now, but for the longest time, it was unheard of, and since it aired once, like people questioned its existence, like it was basically lost media. So all these rumors circulated that it was so scary that it scared kids to death, or like drove them insane. And the movie's about like a girl who moves into a new neighborhood. I think like near the grave of like an evil twin. Like there was these twins that lived in their house before, and like one was good, one was evil, and then they fought and like they died, and like they're on the grave of the evil twin who's like a ghost on Crybaby Lane or something. But yeah, that's the thing. It's internet rumors. It's escalation, like this kind of a snowball effect that even if there's some basis in truth or like an exaggeration, like it gets to a point where it's like something terrifying.
Yeah, because there's one about an old Mickey Mouse cartoon that all they ever show you is the first like 3 minutes, but there's like another 9 minutes afterwards that you can never see, and if you do, you go crazy.
Yeah.
So that's how they always end up.
Yeah, it's like it ties into The Ring, like The Ring was such a successful story because it was a blending of ghost stories and folklore of old into modern times, because it's about a ghost girl, but she haunts you because you see this cursed tape and you die in 7 days. So it's just kind of an evolution of that, and just kind of about how our fears tied into our history, or just kind of, like I said, folklore, just kind of stay relevant today, and just kind of delving into those things.
What are the other ones that Channel Zero did? I know they did No End House,
Butcher Block.
Butcher Block was, No End House is basically, the creepypasta for that one is about a guy who he's offered, I think, $500 or $1,000 to go through this house. And I think there are 7 rooms, and each room is scarier than the one before. And it's like, one of the rooms is like the outside, and he thinks he goes home, but he's still in the room. It's like, it basically is No End House. That's what is the base of that one. And they did a whole season of Channel Zero about it.
Oh, so like that one scene in It Chapter 2 where it's like scary room, even scarier room, not scary room, and it's just like keeps going and going.
Kind of.
A little bit. It's funny because I've been following creepypasta, I think at least since high school, because when it started off initially, it kind of was that Blair Witch effect where it's like, is this real? But maybe it's a true story, like you were saying about urban legends. And one that I particularly remember, as far back as I can, was this thing called the Holder series, where it's basic, which is interesting because it's like a modern day spell book, or like a ritual telling. So it's about how you go to these certain places and do these certain things and certain tasks, if you go to this old abandoned ice cream factory and walk up and down the steps 101 times, enter a red door, and only take 7 steps, and then close your eyes and pray, or it's stuff like that. So the end result being, it's like there are these objects and holders, like these weird demon ghost spirits or whatever, that hold these mystical objects, and you have to do these complex rituals in order to get them. But if you screw up the ritual, you can die, or worse. And if you do it all right, you get the object. But like, I don't remember exactly how detailed they went into them, but it's like these cursed, Hellraiser type objects. So like, even if you do get it, like it may have been better to be killed.
That's another whole sub-genre of creepypastas, is like games, because there's like the elevator game, which those ones get a little convoluted, because you get in the elevator and then you have to hit floor 2, then floor 5, then floor 1, then floor 8. And if you're not going up, you have to get off at the next, it's like all these complex instructions, and you're like, okay, wait, should I be writing this down, or am I supposed to remember this? Or there's like, the Thin Man game, and then there's the Midnight game, all these different ones where they tell you how. There's one where a game where you can meet the devil, and he asks you questions, and if you can answer it correctly, he has to tell you the truth, but if you answer it wrong, he can lie to you. And of course, these ones all end with the whole, and if you talk to him for longer than 66 minutes, your soul is his, and the game ones are real convoluted, because there's a lot to remember and a lot of rules to the games.
And if you don't do it, you die. Or worse.
At some point, you just kind of like, is this game even worth it?
I mean, like, it's not like Legend of Zelda where you'll be giving a sword, so you can continue your journey. It just sounds like a lot of it, it's like, oh yeah, and then this really scary thing's gonna happen. It's like, first of all, I don't like following directions anyways, and you're gonna have me do that to see something scary? No thanks.
Some of them are also about like video games, like where you'll there will be like a cursed cartridge that has like a different level or has a save file.
I know that one.
Yeah.
There's one about
Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah, drowning, or what was it?
Ben Drowned.
Ben Drowned, right.
Ben Drowned, yeah. Or there will be one that's like there were only 1,000 of these made, and it's on a burned disc, and if you do it wrong, it'll wipe out your computer. Like all these, the cursed video game ones is another whole subgenre of it.
Yeah, in fact, there's actually one that has really taken root as recently as a couple weeks ago. It's called Every Mario is something like every Super Mario 64 game is personalized.
Yeah,
and it's kind of this found footage thing, because it's like people modding Super Mario 64 clips to do weird things. So it's like, if you play Super Mario 64 and you mess around with it, like the game tells you to run, or like you're in danger, and like demon versions of like characters and enemies from the game like attack your character and like threaten you.
I read one where it was about the Godzilla game for the NES, and I remember because I got really stoked because I have a copy of that I bought from eBay when I was a teenager. So, but it's like this kid, I think his name was Ben or something. It's always Ben or some shit. Most generic name. Sorry to all our Ben listeners, but you got a generic name. So, but like,
yeah, John is telling you that you have a generic name.
No, my name is Korea.
Yeah.
I have to go by Korea because there's so many goddamn Johns. So yeah, see, Ben's, I know your struggle. Anyways, but so this kid, Ben, is playing a Godzilla NES game, and as he progresses, it gets weird and glitches and stuff, and eventually, like, there's new monsters and new creatures that he's encountering that aren't a part of the game until he encounters one named Red, and Red is like some demon or something, and then, like, you know, it eventually he beats it and defeats Red, and there's like some weird connections between Red and him, and he sells it on eBay, and then that's it.
He sells it on eBay. Some of them get pretty epic too, because there's one called Ted the Caver, which is I think it's like 10 or 11 parts, and it's basically about a dude who him and his friend find they're spelunkers, and they find this cave that they feel some wind coming out of. So they're like, this leads somewhere, so they chisel it out and they find what's on the other side of this hole that they've discovered, which, if you're paying attention, you know that it's not fun.
But it's presented as blog posts. Like each day he posts like a new thing, being like, hey, we went to this cave. And then like all of a sudden it's like, we're very worried about what's in there and all this stuff. We're going to go back one more time. And then he never posted again.
Yeah. And this was like way back in like geosites or like or stuff. So like this was back when people just had their own websites and they updated them, and and that was another thing. Like at the time, people were not really sure if it was real or if it was like just a story.
Ted the Caver is up there with Slender Man, where it's like one of the OG. Ted the Caver might even be before Slender Man. Now that you're thinking about it, because it was just a bunch of blog posts that totally fooled people, but it's pretty terrifying if you think of it. Like you said, it's like a Blair Witch thing.
Well, and that's one where a couple of my questions come from. Like, first of all, do you guys know where the name Creepypasta comes from? Because it sounds random, almost. Like it's like, oh, creepy stories.
No, it's a play on copy paste, which copypasta, which is when you're copying like memes and then pasting them somewhere for other people to read. But if it's creepy and then pasta. So it's a play on the word copy paste,
which is another indication to the mimetic nature of these stories, because for the longest times they weren't really hosted anywhere. It was just stories that somebody would post somewhere and somebody would copy it and post it somewhere else, and would just keep going and going.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
But when they get creepy is when they start calling them creepypastas.
Okay.
So, now some, like my favorite probably creepypasta, we actually do know who wrote it. It's a guy, I think his name's Damon Auerbach, but he was posting under the name, I think, 1,000 Vultures. It was a Reddit thing. It's called Pen Pal, and it's in 5 chapters, and it's in a book form now, but you can also find it on the Creepypasta. You don't have to buy the book, but if you want to support the guy, you can. But you can also listen to it on YouTube and all. But it's basically it's written like it's memoirs of his childhood, and has some pretty messed up stuff happen, with like stalkers and stuff like that in his childhood that he didn't know about because he was real young. And I would love for someone. I think someone actually did buy the movie rights, but they may have expired. But now I'd love for someone to make a movie out of Pen Pal, but I'm not sure how they would do it, because the story is laid out non-linearly, and the way that things are revealed, it would have to be like a Tarantino thing where it has to unfold in the order that it's written, because there are things that are revealed that if you know them earlier, it kind of spoils stuff. But it's a really creative and creepy story. Have either of you guys read Pen Pal?
No, I haven't read that one.
Oh, it's my favorite one. I mean, it's pretty epic. It's long. It's 5 good-sized chapters. It fits into a paperback book when it's been compiled, but it's a creepy one.
So, Jacob, what do you think is a creepypasta that deserves to be a movie? Because we both chimed in on one that would make for an awesome movie. What do you think?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Because I know they already made a Ted the Caver based movie that was very.
Yeah, that's the thing. These stories are really hard to adapt, right? And I guess it depends. Okay, I got a good one. Because like on Reddit, they've got the No Sleep subreddit, which is basically the creepypasta subreddit. And one of the creepiest ones I ever read was about this forest ranger who was taking questions about like the weirdest things he'd ever seen at the park. And it kind of became a series on its own. But like, yeah, it had some weird stuff, like him mentioning like if you ever see like a solitary staircase in the forest, don't go up that staircase, even though it looks like it leads to nowhere.
Yeah, the forest staircases.
Wait.
Yeah, the forest full of staircases. And
wait, why shouldn't you go up? staircases that are just in the middle of a forest?
Google it and find out.
Well, listen.
It's one of those ambiguous things, you know.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't want to know.
No, I don't think you understand. I need to know. Where I grew up, we had this place called Madame Cherie's, which was where it was in the woods. It's a park now, but the whole house is gone except for like the foundation and this one set of stairs. It's like where every film student filmed they had like one scene in there, you know.
You lived near a creepypasta.
Well, I want to know because I've been to the top of it. And besides it being unstable, I want to know if I'm being followed for the last fucking 10 years of my life by something. If I look behind me now, is it there?
Oh, fuck.
Nope, just an empty hotel room.
Or is it?
Ooh.
Yeah, but yeah, like that could make a pretty fun horror anthology, really, because like this park ranger just talked about all this weird shit he's seen in the woods, and yeah, and I think one was like about a disappearance where like somebody was literally sucked up into a tree and they never saw them again.
But it keeps coming back to the staircases, though, too. If I remember the series
I think
correctly.
the staircases are a recurring thing in the stories.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember the whole thing. Like, I don't think I read the whole series, but yeah, there is just something unsettling about, you know, like a series of stairs just out in the middle of nowhere, seemingly going nowhere.
I'm telling you again, it's not a common sight in New England, but it's not uncommon seeing that. But it is a bit unsettling when you're walking. You just see like pieces of housings or buildings just like still out there, but like not the whole thing. It's weird to think about. Like someone used to live there, a family maybe. Where are they? What happened to them? What happened to this house?
The big questions.
Let's lightning round through some quick ones. Like, are you guys familiar with Jeff the Killer?
Oh, yes. I know Jeff.
I know Jeff. Jeff the Killer is another one of those. It doesn't really have a real satisfactory ending, but it's also open-ended because there are like, you know, people keep adding to it. And then the happy man, the smiling man.
Smiling Man.
The Smiling Man is another one where that one I think actually has a definitive author too, because it's, you know, a dude walking down the street and there's a guy across the street dancing and smiling and basically following him, but across the street.
Isn't there also, I think I've read about Smile Dog, which was more like kind of like one of those blockchain ones where it was like a dog smiling, and if you don't share it, like it changes or something.
It was, if you see the image, it was smiledog.jpg, and if you see the image, it's cursed. So the image that is attached to the email, never you're not supposed to open it. Don't open this image. But here it is. You know,
but it's a dog.
It's like a weird Photoshop of a dog with like an inhumanly large mouth, smiling and staring at the person looking at the picture.
Fuck, dude, I'd be so screwed if that was true. I love dogs.
It's like a Siberian Husky, too. It's a cute dog.
Ah, love Huskies.
Yeah, but it's like Photoshop with it look like a demon with like red light and stuff.
It looks like a member of Mayhem, the Lords of Chaos band.
I got one. Abandoned by Disney. Like, that one's pretty creepy. It's like about this urban explorer who goes to this old Disney resort that they abandoned supposedly because of a hurricane, and like he goes deeper and deeper into it, and you know, it's like all these kind of Disneyland style hotels and attractions that were abandoned and rusting over, and like he goes deeper inside, and he finds sign of a struggle, like there's blood and even bullets, and eventually he finds a locked room and all this graffiti all over the place that repeatedly says abandoned by Disney. And he goes inside and he finds like a mascot room with all these Mickey Mouses, including these inverse Mickey Mouses with like reverse colors of the usual Mickey Mouse. And it comes to life, and it comes at him, and he finds like graffiti written in blood, abandoned by Disney, abandoned by God. And yeah, it's that one really messed with me.
Which, like, makes sense because there are entire sections of, like, Disney-owned properties that are abandoned. There are, like, you know, attraction sites where they're no longer... Like, I think there's, in the Florida one, there's a zoo, like, they just let go because they didn't want to be in the zoo business anymore, I guess. And they just do nothing with it, you know? So it's just sitting there. Or is that in California? Because wasn't there a guy that, like, slept in one for, like, 2 weeks and, like, they didn't notice until... And then they had to, like, escort him out. And he was like totally worth it to just hang out in a abandoned Disney for a while.
I don't know about a guy. I know that a guy moved into a movie theater for a couple weeks because it was closed during COVID. Did you guys hear about that guy?
Oh yeah, I read about that.
This is like real. This isn't even a creepypasta. Yeah, he like moved in and a security guard found him like sleeping behind the counter. He was eating popcorn and drinking soda.
Yeah,
that's what he's living on.
It sounds like it sounds like a fun idea at first, but then you realize that they don't keep movies at movie theaters when they're not open.
Yeah,
and then you also
you couldn't like watch it. Yeah,
there's also the fact that like the only food there is like candy, soda, and popcorn, so that's like not fulfilling dietary needs.
Oh no, not at all.
That's actually what he was eating. It was candy. It probably wasn't popcorn. It was just candy and soda. It's like, yeah.
Ugh.
He was probably stoked when they found him. He's like, okay, I'll go home now.
Yeah, how do you not get sick of that so fast?
I don't know, man. When I worked at movie theaters, I lived off popcorn for quite a while.
Oh no, I understand. Same here, but you know, like there were breaks. You know, it's not like 3 meals a day.
There were breaks.
And you actually ate real food in addition to it.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm not going to just eat a super large popcorn tonight. I'm just going to have a small with an actual sandwich, you know, some proteins. I need some proteins. Vitamin deficiency from eating theater food too often.
Oof.
What are some other, let's wrap this up. What are some other cool creepypastas that you guys are into?
Well, here's one thing that I never really understood when it comes to creepypastas, because again, I'm the novice, I guess, the not newly introduced, but the one who doesn't know a lot. Why is it that people believe in it when it's so clearly fucking fake with some of the stuff? Like some of it like Jack the Killer, they're like, oh yeah, and this is what he looks like, and it's like that's clearly an anime, or like it's just very poorly photoshopped, you know?
I don't think people actually do believe it. I think that they like to pass it on like it's true in hopes that they can scare other people. But I don't think anybody actually believes it.
I mean, there are probably some who do, but for the most part, yeah, I think it's just all part of the fun. And another one I like, The Rake, which is kind of a part of those types of cryptid creepypastas. It's basically about this creature called the Rake that lives in the woods, and it has giant claw hands, so it's called the Rake because it rakes across everything it comes across. And yeah, you know, that's the thing, like these fandoms build up, so like there is a variety of art of the Rake by whole bunches of people, you know, unaffiliated to the original story. So, you know, it's just kind of a meta community, you know. It's like these people just kind of giving their own take, kind of like Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot, my boy.
The OG.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's wrap this one up. This is a fun little diversion from the real world that we've taken here.
Isn't that all we are? I mean, like, I don't...
We've gotten a little too real lately.
I get that, but I don't know about...
How can we not?
I don't know about our listeners, but this podcast, for me at the very least, has been a really great, like, getaway from everything that goes on. Just in, like, organizing it and, like, hosting it with you guys. Like, this has helped me through quarantine. So, you know what? Thank you, guys, and thank you, listeners, because... These months have been
Thank
weird.
you, both of you listeners.
And tell us your favorite creepypastas.
There are more than two of you, we know. Yes, tell us your favorites. If we missed your favorite, tell us your favorite. If you have any that you think we might not have heard of, I devour creepypastas. So yeah, if you have a favorite that you think we haven't heard of, please, I would love to read something new, listen to something new.
Also, if you want to send us pictures of dogs that are not cursed, I will happily accept those as well, because I fucking love dogs and would...
You don't know what you're asking. I'm going to send you a pic a day of my dog.
Dude, send me any pics of Hitch. I would love all the pics of
just so long
Hitchcock.
as he's not cursed.
Yeah, just don't send me cursed ones, please.
He's not cursed at all.
No.
My dog's a lover, not a fighter. All right, let's roll on out of here. Our theme music is by Restless Spirit, which I saw Paul plug in Restless Spirit's new record, which is still like a year old, but I think he's going to be doing Restless Spirit full time now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So go check out Restless Spirit. Our artwork is by Chris Fisher, so go check him out. Where can we find you guys on the Twitters? Jacob?
You can find me on Twitter at @JacobDavison_. That is at JACOBDAVISON_.
Cool. And you, Korea?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Korean Barbecue. That's CORREIANBBQ.
Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at CinemaFerite. That's like verite, but with fear, so it's FEARITE. You can find all three of us at the Eye on Horror Facebook page, at the iHorror Facebook page, at the Eye on Horror Twitter, and the Eye on Horror Instagram, and at iHorror.com, which is where we all call home. Did I miss anything?
Oh, and our Pinterest? No, we're not on Pinterest.
Did you create that one? I don't know.
No, I've been a little lacking on the social medias because I'm back to work, but maybe a MySpace down the road. I don't know. We can post our music there, right?
We need a Tinder.
There's an idea.
Yeah.
The Eye on Horror
Swipe
Tinder.
right on us. Wait,
buddy.
Wait, I forget. Is right good or is left good? It's been a while.
I've never used Tinder. I'm married. I never used Tinder.
Jacob,
I think
the resident
honestly,
bachelor.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Teach us how to use Tinder and we'll make a Tinder.
I mean, I was very active on Tinder as a Buffalo Bill for a few months, so you'd think I would know.
Yeah, your big claim to fame. You were Buffalo Bill.
That is like the one thing. It's like, what did you do at iHorror before the podcast? Oh, I made lists like top 5 zombie sex scenes, and then I pretended to be Buffalo Bill on Tinder. That's about it.
Yeah.
What a project that was.
All right, we're going to get out of here. So, stay safe, and we hope that we have distracted you a little bit from the mundanity, is that even a word?
Yeah, whatever.
Of real life. So stay safe. We'll see you on the other side. So for me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
And I'm Jonathan Correa.
Keep your eye on horror.